The trainees cooperated with each other, brainstormed with each other, and they accomplished the additional objective in a week and a half. The 6 month program was reduced to 5 weeks, and the results were significantly increased. The kind of thinking can similarly affect every area of organization life if people have the courage to explore their paradigms and to concrete or on win-win. I am always amazed the result that happens both to individuals and to organization when responsible, proactive, self-directing individual are turned loose on a task. Win-win performance agreement. Creating a win-win performance agreement require vital paradigm shift. The focus is on results, not method. Most of us tends to supervise methods. We use the Goofer delegation discussed in Habit 3, the methods management I used with Sandra when I asked her to take pictures of our sons as he was water skiing. But win-win agreement focus on results, releasing tremendous individual human potentials and creating greater synergy, building PC in the process instead of focusing exclusive on peace. With win-win accountability, people evaluate themselves. The traditional evaluation games people play are awkward and emotionally exhausting. In win-win, people evaluate themselves using the criteria that they themselves help to create upfront. And if you set it up correctly, people can do that with a win-win delegation agreement. Even a 7 years old boy can tell for himself how well he's keeping the yard green and clean. My best experiences teaching university classes have come when I have created a win-win shared understanding of the goal upfront. This is what we are trying to accomplish. Here are the basic requirements for our A, B, and C grade. My goal is to help every one of you get an A. Now you take what you talk about and analyze it and come up with your own understanding of what you want to accomplish that is unique to you. That then let's get together and agree on the grade you want and what you plan to do to get it. Management philosophers and consultants Peter Drucker recommend the use of a manager later to capture the essence of performance agreement between managers and their employees following a deep and true discussions of expectation guidelines and resources to make sure they are in harmony with organizational goals. The employee writes a letter to the manager that summarizes the decision and indicates when the next performance plans or review discussion will take place. Developing such a win-win agreement is a central activity of management. With an agreement in place, employees can manage themselves within the framework of the agreement. The managers then can serve like a pace car in a race. He can get things going and then get out of the way. His job from then on is to remove the all spills. When a boss becomes the first assistant to each of his subordinates, he can greatly increase his spans of controls. Entire levels of administration and overheads are eliminated. Instead of supervising 6 or 8, such a manager can supervise 20, 30, and 50 or more. In win-win agreements, the consequences becomes the natural or logical results of performance rather than a reward or punishment arbitrarily handed out by the person in charge. There are basically four kinds of consequences, rewards, and penalties. Management or parents can control financial physics, opportunities, and responsibilities. Financial consequences include such things as income, stock, optional allowances, or penalties. Psychic or psych, psycho, Psychological consequences include recognition, approval, respect, credibility, or the lose of them. Unless people are in the survival mode, psychic compensation is often more motivating than financial compensation. Opportunities include training, development perks, or other benefits. Responsibility has to do with the scope and authority, either of which can be enlarged or diminished. Win-win agreement specify consequences in one or more of those areas. The pupil involved knows it upfront, so you don't play games. Everything is clear from the beginning. In addition to these logical personal consequences, it is also important to clearly identify what is the natural organization consequences are. For example, what will happen if I'm late to work, if I refuse to cooperate with others, if I don't develop good win-win agreement with my subordinate, and if I don't hold them accountable for desired result, or if I don't promote their professional growth and career development. When my daughter turned 16, we set up a win-win agreement regarding use of the family car. We agreed that she would obey the law of the land and that she would keep the car clean and properly maintained. We agreed that she would use the car only for responsible purpose and would serve as a cab driver for her mother and me within reason. And we also agreed that she would do all her other job cheerfully without being reminded. These were our wins. We also agreed that I would provide some resources, the car, gas, and insurance, and we agreed that she would meet weekly with me, usually on Sunday afternoon, to evaluate how she was doing. Based on our agreement, the consequences were clear. As long as she kept her part of the agreement, she could use the car. If she didn't kept it, she would lose the privilege until she decided to. The win-win agreement set up clear expectation from the beginning on both our parts. It was a win for her. She got to use the car, and it was certainly a win for Sandra and me. Now she could handle her own transportation needs and even some of ours. We didn't have to worry about maintaining the car or keeping it clean, and we had a built in accountability, which meant I didn't have to hover over her to manage her method, her integrity, her conscience, her power of discernment, or and our high emotional bank account manage her infinitely better. We didn't have to get emotionally stung out trying to survive her every move and coming up with punishment or reward on the spot if she didn't do things the way we thought she should. We had a win-win agreement and it liberated us all. Win-win agreements are tremendously liberating, but as the product of isolated techniques, they won't hold up even if you set them up in the beginning. There is no way to maintain them without personal integrity and relationship of trust. A true win-win agreement is the product of the paradigm, the character, and the relationships out of which it grows. In this context, it defines and directs the interdependent interaction of which it was created. Win-win can only survive in an organization when the system support it. If you talk win-win but reward win lose, you got losing programs on your hands. You basically get what you reward. If you want to achieve the goal and reflect the values in your mission statement, then you need to align the reward system with these goals and values. If it isn't aligned systematically, you won't be walking your talk. You will be in the situation the manager I mentioned earlier who talk corporation but practice competition by creating a race to Bermuda contest. I worked for several years with a very large real estate organization in the Middle East West. My first experience with the organization was at a large sales rally where over 800 sales associates gathered for the annual reward program. It was a psych up cheerleading session season complete with high school bands and a great deals of friends screaming. Out of 800 people there, around 40 receive award for top performance such as most sales, greatest volume, highest earned commission, and most listing. There was a lot of hoopla, excitement, cheering, applause around the presentation of these awards. There was no doubt that those 40% had won, but there was also the underlying awareness that 760 people had lost.